It was the late 90s, and newborn dev company Insomniac Games just released their first title, Disruptor. It reviewed well but ended up sounding like complete dogshit, and consequently the studio found themselves nearly filing for bankruptcy. For their next project, the team had to step away from the greedy robot shootman games and target a safer demographic of babies who poop their diapers and smear it on the walls. And as a result, we ended up getting the best, and only the best, trilogy of 3D platformers the PlayStation had to offer. For the next 2 months, or until however long the remaster comes out, I'll be taking a look at the original trilogy of Spyro games for the Pussy Suck 1, starting with Spyro the Dragon. The one it's named after, you know. The game starts with the dragons in the Artisan World, which is part of the 5 realms of the Dragon Kingdom, being interviewed on live TV. The reporter asks what they think of Nasty Nork, a half-orc, half-gnome, who has his own separate realm outside of the Dragon Kingdom. They basically call him a smegma-ridden faggot. Nork responds all pissy and turns all the dragons into giant ring pops, but misses Spyro because of his midget stature. Now you have to go and travel through all the realms and free all your dragon friends, with the help of your trusty dragonfly BF, Sparks. Beating the shit out of Nork's goons while on your way to confront the Smegma Lord himself, and kick his ass too. Those Spyro games are pretty much the chilliest collectathon platformers you'll ever play. Throughout your journey you'll be rescuing the numerous scalies that nasty nigger turn into meth crystals. These serve as the main backseaters of the game that offer some helpful tips on top of gating progress. But unlike most garbage heap games found in this genre, there aren't a million of them you have to save in each level. In total, there are only 80 dragons that need saving, and you can even skip a couple and progress through the game just fine. Instead, the clusterfuck collecting is found in the gems. They're scattered all over each level and homeworld constantly, upping the number with each world you visit. Some of them are out in the open, while others are stored in metal chests that require you to find another way to break them out, either by finding a key or just by using brute force. There really is something about these colorful ring pops that tempt you into collecting them all. Maybe it's the way that you can always see them sparkling no matter the distance, always calling your attention, or the sound they make once collecting them. There are also these little blue Allahu Akbar motherfuckers with dragon eggs that you'll have to chase around. What this game does well is that all these items are strategically placed in a breadcrumb fashion that guide you through these open, multi-layered stages. Stretch-Pato, that's what I wrote in the script. Stretch-Pato himself controls smoothly for the most part. Our little protag lad has a ram charge that you'll use to move anywhere because fuck walking, can also breathe fire to hit enemies, break chests, doors, and also light up the occasional firework. There's also a dodge roll you can do with the shoulder buttons. There's no real use for it. Moving around and gliding is easy, aside from some awkward turning. I do note that a lot of the people playing this series for the first time always end up complaining about how stiff the camera controls are, but I never had any issue with it. L2 sways it to the left, while R2 sways it to the right. It's a bit slow and it limits you whenever you want to look up and down, instead resorting to this close-up camera that locks you in place. Aside from it being a bit sluggish, it never ended up getting stuck on terrain or glitched out during my run, which is something that's pretty commendable. The levels you get to explore are amazing. The amount of verticality, hidden areas, and open fields to run across, it's on a league of its own when compared to the other platformers on the P Station. There are also these flight sections in each world that have you going through hoops or destroying a certain number of objects under a certain time. All these stages are fun, but feel out of place visually, with all of them following the same theme of massive crystal structures out in the buck-fuck middle of the ocean. Sometimes at night, sometimes at day. When it comes to the combat, it's nothing. You'll generally encounter the same 2 types of grunts in each world. The smaller, nimbler grunts that can be disposed of with a simple flame or a charge if wearing any metal armor. The big dick fuck-off grunts, on the other hand, require you to either flame them instantly once you get close, as they seem even quicker to react. Spyro's health is neatly conveyed via his little firefly buddy following him around. On a full bar, you'll be able to take 4 hits, with each stage being conveyed via spark, changing into a different color, until he eventually realizes how much of an inept retard you are and just fucks off on the penultimate hit. Restoring your health is only a matter of slaughtering the livestock for sustenance. During my playthrough, I couldn't help but fall in love with the game's color palette. The worlds look like beautiful, dreamlike areas you could visit in your sleep, all covered in light tones of both cool and warm colors. The low poly, low defined PS2 toothpick graphics really help with this vibe. At least in my opinion. A little nitpick, but I was really hoping to see more night stages in the game, but they rarely showed up. My favorite worlds visually would probably be the mystical Dreamweaver's homeworld up in the sky, and the swampy, murky, shit level design having Beastmaker's realm. The Spyro OSTs are Copeland's magnum opus and pretty much the only good thing he's ever put out. I've seen the police play before. It was for my middle school field day. It was sad. I really like the little thematic elements in the instrumentation, like the ditty little MIDI keyboard playing, or the airy wind chime xylophone sounds. I don't fucking know what they are. They just sound good. The best part of the OST would be the fantastic upbeat percussions always present in every stage. It's at its best during boss fights where they get heavier and faster to ramp up that intensity. Some personal favorites would be the tracks used for Wizard Speak with the guitar sampling and the keyboard going insane in the back, and Misty Boggs' fast percussion accompanying the rhythm guitar and the cool bass line. All of these tracks are presented in that crisp and clear CD audio.
Quality.
That fucking Dolby 6.9, my nigga. The game also features a surprisingly quality cast voicing the dragons. Names like Tom Clancy's Brown, Carlos Alzaraki, and Michael Gao. You know, he was, additional voices in Mobius Final Fantasy. After you've flown through and explored all the worlds, freeing as many Scalies as possible from their crystallite state, you reach Nasty Nork's base. Determined to defeat him, you go through the most underwhelmingly uneventful and short boss fight sequence since Crash 2. And then he just fucks off and you get left alone. Nothing else really. The end. Wow. Spyro 1 is a fun and thoroughly enjoyable time, but at its core, it's still a baby game. All its bosses are pretty much the same. They'll have you chasing them as they hop around the level and exploiting one simple exploit until death comes knocking at their door. Most of my deaths were never caused by any of the enemies or hazardous stage elements. I really just kept falling to my death due to me not being able to determine the right distance to fly to any faraway platform. Over and over and over again. It's a pretty short experience. There's only 6 worlds to check out with 4 to 5 levels each, and I managed to beat it in 120% in 4 hours. Twice. With my capture software crashing and corrupting the footage in both instances. It was a fun night. There aren't any wild goose chases for the last gem in the game, and the way the levels just constantly throw them at you makes this the smoothest and most comfortable game to 120. Although there aren't really any rewards to doing this other than getting the secret cutscene. Look at him, he's got shades on, isn't that cool? A lot of people usually tend to skip the first installment of a trilogy due to the first outing being the jankest and a lot of the time it not really resembling the rest of the series at all. Spyro 1 may not have the most polished cock out of the 3, but the music, environments, level design, and gameplay make this a solid title to check out. So check it out, haha, please, he needs it.